Happy Thanksgiving, all, and welcome to the Golf Course Launch Show. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, tis the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday as they call it. And it's funny. It's the cool thing is that we're only 5 weeks away from 2026, from the new season, when we get to do it all over again, get to start all over again. So a bit of downtime now. This time of year is kind of cool. But the new year will be here before we know it. So again, wanted to share with you guys some pictures that we got some from viewers. Oliver out in the middle of the country sent us some pictures of his lawn. His lawn is still green, believe it or not. And we had some folks send us some pictures of their grilling efforts on Thanksgiving yesterday. I shouldn't say efforts. I mean, Darren's pretty much a pro, but I mean, just show you like what some folks were putting together yesterday. And again, as always, we'll just take your questions and see what we have going on. Maybe a shorter show tonight because I know it is, basically we're getting into winter time, but I'll stick around and answer questions as long as you guys are here. All right, let's get rolling. First of all, we have a question or a comment from Jose 8FR. It says, I have a ton of mounds in my Bermuda. I believe it's from crickets. Should I be concerned? And what should I apply if so? Tough to know without actually seeing pictures of it, J Rose. Most folks, when they tell me they have like mounds in their Bermuda lawn, I mean, it could be a lot of different things that can cause it. But if it's obviously not like something like an anthill, probably the most common reason why that happens are from worm castings, from earthworms. So if that's the case, there's not a whole lot that I would personally do about it. I mean, it's a sign of good soil. It's like nature's natural aeration. So there's nothing really One, should you be concerned about it? No. Is there anything that I would apply to get rid of them? Also, no. So again, difficult to say without actually seeing the pictures of what you're dealing with. But if it looks like, I don't know, like a probably the size can vary, but it's anywhere between 2 inches up to 6 inches, and the mounds are kind of like fluffy, sort of in nature. I mean, again, I'm not doing a great job describing it, but that's often what you what is the case when you have earthworm castings. So if you just Google earthworm castings and go to images, you should be able to see a picture of them, and then that will be a good indicator if that's what you got going on. If that's the case, nothing to worry about. All right. So hope that helps. Great question. Worm castings, especially if you've had some rain in the lawn, not uncommon. So if that's you, again, I really wouldn't do anything about it. It's a sign of healthy soil. It's good times, right? All right, next up, we got Mr. Hayes. He says, hello, Ron and all. Hopefully all had a great Thanksgiving. It is cold now in North Carolina. Turf Top Tall Fescue still looks good. I might have had my last mow unless it warms up. Yeah, I mean, it's cold, dude. I think it's 38 degrees outside here in Georgia. So it's getting up there, or getting down there as far as temperature goes. But with you having fescue, you might be surprised, man, if your winters are anything like how Georgia's are, where it doesn't stay cold for extended periods, it kind of goes up and down. You never know, that fescue may not lose its color as quickly as you're thinking. So you're right. I mean, it is the end of November, beginning of December. So, by all rights, you should be done mowing for the season, but you never know, man. I mean, being in the Southeast, winter's kind of like an idea versus like a solid season compared to up north. So keep us posted as far as how that works out. If you want to see the contrast, so look at a lawn in I think it's in Texas or Oklahoma. Oliver, he sent some pictures of the lot just before the live stream of his Bermuda lawn, which looks insane given that it's the end of November. So I'll show you guys, I share that with you. Pretty cool picture. So this is picture one. This is taken today. That's Bermuda in like late November. That's unbelievable. And then picture two, also looking pretty awesome. I mean, you can see all the leaves from, I guess, nearby trees that are on the lawn. But I mean, that's, I mean, that if you told me that was a lawn in May, I'd believe you. But I mean, to say that it's looking like that in November, late November at that, that's pretty incredible. So awesome job, Oliver. Lawn looks incredible. I know you're using a greens master on it to keep it, tip top in great shape. But yeah, man, overall, Mother Nature has been very kind to you this fall. The lawn still looks really, 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 really good. Color looks awesome. Great work. Enjoy it. Okay, next up we got Mr. Jason DeCarney says, "Go Dogs! Heck of a game by Tech." Yeah, dude. Listen, I was literally before the stream started. I was sitting there watching the last play of the game. I think there's like 1 second left. And I'll say they threw the Hail Mary. I'm like, guys, I mean, either intercept this or knock it down. I mean, this is to be bad. We don't want to go, because let me think, it was 16-9. So yeah, I mean, they could have tied it up. I guess unless they were like crazy one for the 2-point conversion. But I think they just, it was not good. We did not need that. So again, Tech, great game. It was it was great ending. But once again, Georgia's come out on top. So at least that's something good today, right? I agree with you, Jason. Go Dogs. Good job. Good job. All right, next up we got Mr. Jackie the Bear. Says, "Brother Ron, have an excellent stream, sir. Happy holidays, everybody." Yeah, absolutely, Jackie. It's a great time of year to hang out with friends, family, catch up, reflect on the season, reflect on everything that's happened, that will happen in the future, think about things, about future plans. So it's a great time of year just to relax and enjoy a little bit of downtime, the golf course lawn store, we've done it for a couple of years. So this year we're running it back again. We have our Black Friday sale that's running across the entire store wide. You can save up to 10% depending on how much you order. And it is running until Monday. So, you just literally, if the savings start at orders of $200 or more. And as you ramp up to over $1,000, I know some of you guys like to wait till now to stock up for the entire season. It's a great way to save some coin, and get ready and be ahead of the game for next year. So it's running now. There's nothing you have to do. There's no codes or anything like that. It'll automatically be applied whenever you check out. And again, it ends Monday. So be sure to take advantage of that. I don't want to get any emails or phone calls Monday, folks saying, "Oh, well, I didn't realize that." I'm like, man, listen, it's been going on for like almost 2 weeks now. Come on now, come on. All right. So next up, we got Mr. Jason W. Harrison. He says, Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Thankful for Lawn Fam. Hope everyone has a good and restful weekend. Yeah, man. Pretty good. I mean, this week has been fairly quiet. Yesterday, had Thanksgiving dinner, I guess kind of like lunch dinner with some friends from karate, which was a good time. Enjoyed that. And yeah, overall a nice time of the year. Uh the more that I go, or the more seasons that happen without me overseeding my lawn, like doing a perennial or I guess overseed, the more I think I don't want to do it. Because I actually enjoy like not having to mow this time of year. It's actually kind of nice. It's a good time of year just to kind of uh to relax and kind of hang out. All right. So John Williams sent us some pictures, kind of contrast to show you example of like how good Oliver's lawn is to put it in perspective. Right. John Williams is a friend of the live stream. Is always on the YouTube channel. Often comes on the show. Sends some pictures of his celebration Bermuda lawn in Savannah, and it is to give you a contrast of another Bermuda lawn. Granted, I think it's a newer lawn. He just put it in this season. Oliver's got a few seasons under his, but to show you of what a Bermuda lawn typically looks like in late November, this is what you're normally working with. So John sent picture one. This is Celebration Bermuda in Savannah, Georgia. And then picture two is, again, you can see what the lawn looks like this time of year. That is what I would normally expect for Bermuda lawn. So that versus that, pretty big difference. Pretty big difference, right? So pretty awesome. Thanks for sending the pictures in, John. But it's nice to give folks something to compare against. And again, I appreciate that. Celebrations, it looks like it's doing well, and next season it'll be even better. You're starting from even a better point, right? So like where you leave off at this time of the year is like sets the bar for next season. Okay, next up we have Drew Douglas saying good evening, Drew. Hopefully all is well. And then next up is Camp. He says, Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. So thankful for you, Ron, and all the lawn family. Yeah, man, I really appreciate that, Tom. Hopefully all is going well with you. Hopefully your lawn is doing okay. It's probably checking out, I imagine, this time of year, but hey, it is what it is. Mr. Darren Proctor says, Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Darren sent some pictures in, not of lawns, but of, I guess you say his second love, I guess. It's probably a good way of putting it. Darren is what would you call yourself, Darren? Is like a grill master, I guess, extraordinaire. But he sent some pictures of what he was working with for Thanksgiving last year, or this year, sorry. It's just like, I guess yesterday, picture of yesterday. And this is pretty sweet. So a turkey that he said is done like something like frog style. What did you say, Darren? I'm gonna make sure I'm messing this up. You said it was a bullfrog style. All right, so that's picture one. It on the grill, looking solid, and then the final result was this. Now I got to tell you, I know I'm probably alone in this, and I am normally not a fan of turkey because it tends to be kind of dry. However, that does not look dry. That looks all kinds of yumminess. Yeah, so I guess it's all in the preparation, right? So thing one became thing two. So nice work, Darren. Thanks for sending the pictures in. I'm sure the folks enjoyed it, and I'm sure that was really tasty. It looks really good. All right, next up is JStan01. He says, Happy Thanksgiving. How do we submit a picture? So normally I get them in before the show starts, JStan, but if you can email it to me here quickly, I'll do my best to get it on the show. My email address, I'll post it right here on the live stream right there, ron@golfcourselawn.com. If you send your pictures to there, make sure they're not too big and only send like a couple of them, don't send only like 17. I will do my best to get them on the show. Ideally, if you can send the pictures where they are formatted in landscape, so if your phone turned like this when you take the picture instead of like this, it makes it easier for me to get it on. It just formats better. But whatever you got, you can send. Just send only a couple of them if you don't mind. All right. And that's my email address, ron@golfcourselawn.com. You can send them there. Okay. Next up is Niall Prince. He says, My Bermuda is almost fully dormant, and the quinclorac I put down a month ago helped knock back the invading St. Augustine. Nice, love to hear it. When should I reapply to prevent it from creeping back? Okay, so great question, now, Prince. Quinclorac is a great option for controlling St. Augustine grass in your Bermuda lawn. What I would say is this, right? Depending on how the St. Augustine is growing, that's going to really drive when we do another application. In this case, we're treating the St. Augustine like a weed. So if it's actively growing, like, it's you see it's coming back and you see new like new leaf, new shoots coming in, then you can hit it again. What you tend to find with St. Augustine being a warm season grass is it's going to be more aggressive in the springtime, spring and summer months. So if the application you've already done of quinclorac has largely knocked it back for now, I don't know that you're going to get a whole lot of another application this time of year, given that we're in late November, early December. Now, if you're in South Texas or Southern Florida, then yeah, maybe in that case you would benefit from it. But for most people, I would say you've already won the game for this season for the most part. Look at it next year and say March timeframe. That's when I would do it again. Again, whenever the St. Augustine is actively growing is when you want to go after it with herbicides for best results. Hopefully that makes sense. A great question, and I'm glad that quinclorac did the trick for you. It's a great option. It's funny. Like quinclorac is we normally think about it as for controlling torpedo grass and crabgrass. Crabgrass is mainly known for, but it's also quite effective against St. Augustine or centipede grass if you don't want that in your Bermuda lawn, right? So kind of cool. Bermuda or zoysia. I mean, the quinclorac is going to be used on a bunch of different grass types, so to include some cool season grasses. So, but yeah, glad that's working well for you. All right, next up we got Mr. Robert Rainey. What's going on, Robert? Good evening, all. Hopefully you're doing well. Again, condolences. I know you had the loss in the family, so again, sorry to hear about that. But thanks for coming by to say hello in the live stream. Hopefully you had, I know this week has been kind of interesting, but hopefully you have, yesterday was somewhat decent for you guys. And again, if I could do anything to help, definitely let me know. All right, we got Matthew Whitson up next. He says, hello, Ron. Hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. Pretty good. Can't complain. I was wondering if mixing Primo and a new would be okay on common Bermuda or just pick one instead of both. Thanks. The answer to the question is yes. You can do a combination of Primo and a new on common Bermuda. There's no problem with that at all. You can do it on common. You can do it on I primarily use it on my lawn, which is hybrid Bermuda, but yeah, you can absolutely use it on common. What I would do is this: I would still use the hybrid rate for Primo, because if you're even though you're mixing a new with it, because for common Bermuda grass, the rate is quite a bit higher than it is for hybrid. But given the fact that we're mixing a new easy and Primo, I would start on the lower end of the rate card. That works out to a quarter of an ounce up to 0.38 ounces per month. You can decide if you want to split that up or not over multiple sprays, but for hybrid Bermuda grass, a quarter of an ounce up to 0.38 ounces over a 4-week period is what the label calls for. For common Bermuda, it's like almost 3 times the rate. It's quite a bit higher. But again, for me, I would start with the lower end, because you're also mixing a new easy along with it. And for a new you could do half an ounce. So half an ounce per 1,000 is what I would do. And then again, you can always go up. You still got room to go up on the rate for a new and Primo as well. But starting low is what I would do, just to see how the grass tolerates it. All right. So hope that helps. Great question. I guess you're planning for next year. I wouldn't imagine that too many people are having to use plant growth regulator on Bermuda grass in November, but I guess depending on where you live, it might be a thing. Quite possible. But at any rate, you got a plan of action for next year, right? And in case you are wondering or wanting to see how I mix it, I've got a video that walks through that. I think it's from last year, that walks through using a new easy and Primo together. Yep, here it is. So what I'll do is I'll send you this in the chat, Matthew, so you got something to take a look at as you're planning your growth regulator program for next year. Per GR video. All right. So hope this is useful. Okay. Next up, we have Jay Stan. He says, I have a cool season long with my RPR. It still looks good. I think I may need another cut. I'm in Pennsylvania near Philly. Yeah, I mean, given that you have cool season grass, I would not be surprised that you're still able to mow this time of year. I mean, it'll tell you, right? If the grass is um if if the grass is still growing, still actively growing, you should mow it. That's what I would tell you. It would absolutely, I would still absolutely mow it. You sent me a picture here. We can show the folks here in the live stream what you're working with. This looks pretty good. I would still be mowing that. Looks solid. All right, so share it with everyone here. So loading, loading. There we go. Cool. Yeah, this looks good, man. I mean, I don't see any reason why you would not cut that. If it's still growing, mow it. Colorless still looks great. I would keep on it. It's not going to hurt anything as long as your mower's nice and sharp and again, the grass, the color still looks great. So I would continue to mow that, man. Why not? It's only going to help it. Only going to help it. Okay, next up we have Greg AU21 says, hey Ron, I have Empire Zoysia and my yard is the last to green up in the spring. Well, it is Zoysia. Do the finer blade zoysia varieties seem to green up sooner? Looking at replacing with some geozoysias. Thoughts? I'll have to wait until next year and let you know, Greg. This is my first year with zoysia, and mine went in April, so I can't tell you exactly how soon it's going to come back. I will say that the greenest part of my lawn right now is the front lawn that is zoysia. Now, whether that translate into next year once once it finally does go dormant and things begin waking up again, if it's going to come in before the Bermuda, I mean, probably is what I would imagine, but without having a year under my belt yet, I'd hate to tell you that yes, that's definitely going to be a thing. Geozoysia, I've not really heard of that one. So I mean, the most common ones that I see around here, Xeon, obviously. Xeon and Empire are pretty common in this area. So you already got Empire and you don't like it. So Xeon is a finer blade. I mean, if you're gonna go through and make a swap, you could do that. Geo might be a really fine blade. Zoysia, again, I've never heard of that one. So I guess I'd say just do your research and see which one would work better. If you're going to get rid of your existing zoysia and replace it with another one, I'd give you the same advice that I would give someone that is going to has a Bermuda lawn and is going to replace it with another Bermuda cultivar. So say you had like Tifway 419 and you wanted to go to say Celebration or Tahoma 31, you really want to do a good job killing off the existing Bermuda as good as you can. So like several rounds to do so. The reason why is because there's not that I'm aware of anyway, there's not really an easy way to selectively remove Bermuda out of Bermuda. So like say you had, and the same, I believe it also stands for zoysia. So say you have like your Empire zoysia, right? You decide you're going to get rid of it and go to this geozoysia. If the visibility or the grass, like the color, the texture is visibly different, you really want to do a good job getting rid of the Empire as much as you can, because if you have any, say you don't do a good job, you just do a light spray, you kind of kill off the Empire, but it's not fully gone. Then you go through and you resod with Geo. When you get breakthrough of the Empire, it's going to be really difficult to get rid of it. Like you're not going to be able to get rid of it in a vacuum without also harming the zoysia that you want to keep. You see what I mean? So if you are going to go this route, if you definitely say, hey, I'm going to change from one to the other, do a really good job killing it off. I'd say glyphosate and Fusilade works. That's a great combination for Bermuda grass. I imagine if you went up on the rate on Fusilade 2 and glyphosate, it would also work really well against zoysia as well too. But I'll do multiple rounds of it. Whereas when I got rid of my Bermuda and went to zoysia, I only did one round because I have a way to selectively control Bermuda grass in zoysia. You're not going to have that. So you really want to get the Empire, as much of it out as you can. So kill it off, maybe a couple of rounds of that, and then maybe you can scrape away that cut and remove all that old material as much as you can. That way you'll end up with just the new grass type that you're putting in instead of a blend. All right. So hope that helps. Cool. We have a cash app from Mr. John Williams. Thank you so much, John. I really do appreciate it. Let me get you up here as our show sponsor. That's very generous of you. Let me get you going here. So let me find that, and it is John Williams. Thank you so much, John. Be good if I spell your name. How do you misspell John? Come on, Ron. Try harder. All right, so there we go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thanks so much, John. I really do appreciate it. Okay, next up we have Mr. Cedric Garth. He says, happy holidays, everyone. Ron, how can I get rid of Moss? Also, what are your other social media platforms? Okay, so to get rid of Moss, couple of things. There are products to get rid of it. You can use Moss X, like Scott's makes a product that will get rid of it. Well, here's what I will tell you though, to really solve this problem, you want to look at the environmental conditions that are allowing the moss to be an issue in the first place. So things that moss likes, it likes acidic soil. It likes areas of your lawn that stay wet or damp, so soil doesn't drain very well. And then also areas that don't get a lot of sunlight. So if you've got an area that is shaded, doesn't drain well, and the soil is acidic, like that's a great combination for moss to take root. So while you can use a product like Moss X to get rid of it, what I would say is let's look at what the environmental conditions are that are causing it to be an issue in the first place and correct that. That way, when you finally do go after the moss with the control, with the chemical control, then you'll have a much better chance of it actually being or staying away. You know what I mean? Versus playing a game of whack-a-mole. I think we've got we think we've got a blog on that with a few options. Let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. This is our blog post on how to get rid of moss in your lawn. I will put that for you here on the live stream as well, Cedric. If you need anything else, let me know. But yeah, take a read at this as well. It's pretty much it's gonna talk about what I just said, but if you just want like a short read on the topic, can't get enough of getting rid of moss, this will also be of use for you as well. All right. So there you go. All right. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. And then Darren Proc says, not frog, bullfrog. Listen, man, you know, I'm not, Darren, you can't trust me with barbecue terms, man. All I know is whenever like you send me the sauces that you use, I'm like, that tastes good. You know, all these technical terms. I mean, I know a little bit about grass, but like barbecuing, obviously not my strong suit, not my forte. All right. Next up, we have, wait a minute. Wait, are you saying that was a bullfrog? It wasn't, that's not a frog. That was turkey. It's the way you, hang on, I gotta go reread your email now. You're making me question. Hang on, Thanksgiving, okay, a bullfrog style turkey. Okay, that's what I was saying. It's not a frog. That's definitely a turkey. Okay. All right, moving on. We have John's Grass Hangout. He says, hey, Ron, this is the update to the last question, spell check. Some Bermuda celebration. What is a good herbicide to apply right now to spot treat some weeds, especially like some crabgrass? That is all. Okay. Okay, so if you have celebration, it's kind of, well, you're in Savannah, so I guess you could have crabgrass, but I mean, kind of unlikely you still have crabgrass, but if you're looking for something to control it, what I would use is quinclorac, John. So if you go to, let's see here. If you go to the golf course lawn store and you go to shop and weed killer and quinclorac we got a couple of options here. I would just go with drive. So you got two options. You got quintessential, you got drive. Either one of these will work. For best results, you're going to want to use some surfactant and spray indicator dye with it as well. So you got drive, accelerate, and we have a kit that has the herbicide, spreader sticker, and marker dye. And then you've also got another option in quintessential, which again is they both have quinclorac in them, but of the two, I would do drive. If like $5 doesn't really matter to you that much, then I would go with drive. All right, of the two. So hopefully that helps, sir. The other weeds you might have this time of year, I mean, again, crabgrass I kind of doubt, would be like Poa annua. That's pretty common. as far as a weed that you'd have in your lawn this time of year, like annual bluegrass, for that you're going to want to use like Certainty. So let me get you links for both, John. Your this is your link for this is crabgrass control. Again, all the crabgrass in November. Yeah, again, I guess you are near the coast, so anything's possible. All right, so there you are. And then for controlling Poa annua and also sedges, Certainty, a herbicide near and dear to my heart. One of the best warm season herbicide options, in my opinion. This is what I would go with for that. So if you don't have a bottle of Certainty to have on the shelf, not bad. You'll use it now for Poa annua, and you'll also use it next year if and when you have sedges, nutsedge, kalinga, those types of weeds that grow on your lawn. It is also a great option against those. Okay, so hope that helps, John. If you need anything else, let me know. And yeah, those either of those will work well. And in both cases, you're going to want to use surfactant with them for best results. Okay. All righty. Next up, we have DJ Rockefeller. He says, "Hey, Ron, spurge is popping up in different areas of my Bermuda lawn. I'm in Brazelton. Is it too late to apply post-emergent?" Kind of crazy that you still have spurge in this time of year. I mean, spurge was bad this year. I had some in my mulch beds. I don't have any now. So what I would say is this, DJ Rockefeller, if you still have spurge and it's like you're seeing new growth and new spurge coming in, then yes, you can use, I would use Celsius personally. That's what I would use. I've used that a couple times this season, and it's a really good option for controlling spurge along with a bunch of other broadleafs. So if you don't have it, I'll send you a link to where you can pick it up here. Again, like the previous person with a question, you're going to want to use surfactant along with it for best results. I mean, it's kind of cool this time of year, so I'm surprised you're still getting some breakthrough with spurge, but at any rate, Celsius is what I would personally use. It's a great option because while it's also good it's good for spurge. The reason why I say Celsius is that when you get into next season, into the summertime, it's a great general broadleaf herbicide, and it doesn't have any temperature restrictions. So if you get into like June, July, the hotter times of the year, you are far less likely to have injury to your turf grass using Celsius than you are other broadleaf options like a 3-way. All right, so that's why I'm gonna point you towards this for controlling spurge. And just again, if you don't have any of it, it's just good to have on the shelf. It's a great option if you have a warm season lawn, which you being in Brazelton with a Bermuda lawn, you would check both boxes. All right, hope that helps, sir. Again, Celsius is the way in my opinion. All right, next up we have, you guys got questions firing on all cylinders. I thought tonight was going to be slow, but we'll see. All right, next up we have Chris 1515. He says, "Hey Ron, I know it's CS. That logo is interesting. That's like, I think it's like Siler's logo. It's crazy. It says, hey Ron, I know it's about to be early winter here in Georgia, but are you using a rotary to take the lawn down some so you have less work next year when I start to room out?" Okay, so your question is, you're in Georgia, you want to know about scalping or cutting the lawn a bit lower this time of year, so you got less to take care of next year. I typically will do that when we're closer to the beginning of the season, Chris. So wherever I leave the lawn in September, October, height of cut wise is where I tend to leave it until we get into February. So the way I will do it is, if I'm going to make a height of cut change, I'll start doing that like in late January, early February. I'll take some off, and then when we get into late February, early March, if I need to take it down some more, that's when I'll do my scalp to really start the season. So I wouldn't necessarily go this time of year. If it were me, I would wait to be closer to the start of next year. There's not really a whole lot of reason to do it. I mean, if we get like a really cold winter, and you allow the lawn to dry out, you can get some damage. You can get like the lawn, if you get really cold and you're not putting any water on the lawn, like you can have some issues with desiccation. So you're not winning anything. You're not really buying yourself anything by doing it now versus waiting until like late January, early February to begin the process of like bringing the height of cut down, getting the lawn ready for the season to start. I personally would not do it this time of year. I would wait until next year. All right. But yeah, using a rotary to do the major work as far as reducing the height of cut and then moving over to a reel mower, I love it. Great plan. Okay. So I hope that helps, sir. It's a good question. Your avatar is interesting. It reminds me of a guy with I don't know, similar initials, but it's just interesting that yours is the same thing. All right, Chris 1515. All right. Cool. Next up, we have John. He says, "Hey, Ron, I'm curious, is there any correlation with the grasses in green or not as it relates to durability? Hopefully that makes sense. What I'm thinking are grasses that are dying sensitive. Like, for example, my neighbor centipede grass, that thing looks like somebody took a torch to it. It's super brown, and I know that centipede is pretty sensitive to inputs. Okay, yeah, so a couple of things. It could be, so there's a couple of things that are going to cause your lawn to go brown or dormant this time of year. I mean, over the course of the season, inputs can make a difference. The type of grass that you have will make a difference. So centipede may go dormant sooner than Bermuda. The type of Bermuda you have will also make a difference. So it's not just any one thing that will cause one grass type to respond differently to weather and inputs than another. Typically, centipede doesn't require nearly as much inputs to take care of as Bermuda or zoysia. Like Bermuda centipede, as far if you want like a grass that's relatively low maintenance, centipede. I mean, it doesn't grow that fast. You don't have to really feed it that much. It's a great grass for people that really don't like working on their lawns a lot. I'd say that. So outside of just the fact that your lawn is you have celebration and that your neighbors is centipede, um, that I would say that is likely the biggest reason why you're seeing the differences in color. Your lawn is obviously getting a lot more love, care. The quality of your soil is probably better given all the inputs you put in over the season, which is likely helping your lawn to hold on to its color a bit better too, in addition to being Bermuda instead of centipede. But it's a host of factors. There's not any one thing that can cause one grass to go dormant sooner than another. All right. A good example is that, take for example, my lawn and Alex's lawn. Like my lawn has gotten um, carbonized PNG more regularly, and in the past essential G more regularly and with more at higher rates over the years than Alex's lawn has. And typically what you find, even though our lawns get quite similar programs, the big difference being that my lawn will typically go dormant later than his and will come out of dormancy sooner than his. So that's a good test, because you have two grasses or two lawns that are relatively the same grass type. But in our case, it's more of an inputs thing than it is, because our soil is pretty much the same. It's more of the fact that the inputs that go into my lawn versus his are a bit more than, and that shows a difference in as far as green up and going in the dormancy. All right. Okay. Next up, we have Eliezer Aguilar. He says, "What is the rate for a gallon of velocity PM on fescue grass?" I want to say it's 1.5. You have to read the label, Eliezer, but I want to say it's like 1.5 fluid ounces per. No, it's not fluid ounces. That's not true. This is way too much. 1.5 milliliters. It comes with a syringe. 1.5 milliliters per gallon per thousand. We've got velocity on the store here. You're asking this question when I could just go and read the label. Let's see here. Where is it? Under, there it is. And if we go down, we show how to use. Yeah, so 2.25 fluid ounces per acre. That works out to one. Yeah, here we go. 1.5 milliliters. That is. So 1.5 milliliters of velocity PM per gallon over 1,000 square feet. You can read the label, but that's there's also some additional information, like using it with a backpack sprayer that the manufacturer puts out, that we also list here on the store. But it's the rate is 1.5 milliliters per gallon per 1,000 square feet. So what I will do is I will link this here for you, Eliezer. You're on the Facebook, so I'll have to do it this way. But if you read that, if you go to the how to use section there on the Golf Course Lawn Store for the product description, in there you'll find the label, other guidance, and rates. All right. So hopefully that helps. All righty. Next up we have John's Grass Hangout. He says, is it normal for any of the herbicides to have any kind of solid matter inside the bottle, and what should I do? It depends. I mean, sometimes it can settle, so you may have to shake it. Like I know Tenacity, a lot of herbicides will do that. Some of the liquids will do that. Tenacity in particular, if you leave a bottle just sitting for like extended period of time, it will separate out. So you just got to shake it really well. Same thing with Velocity PM. Have to shake it a lot before you use it. Pretty much, I'd say this, any liquid herbicides. What's an example of one you don't really have to do that? Like Fusilade 2 does pretty well as far as not really separating. But Velocity, Tenacity, in general, it's just good practice. If you have a bottle of herbicide it's already in liquid form, it's a good idea to give it a good shake, get it nicely mixed, especially if it's been sitting for a while before you use it. So that could be that. But if you have actually solid matter, the only time I've ever seen that was, John, is with is like if you have like an old bottle of Coastal, like which was is prodiamine, simazine, and imazaquin. And so if the bottle wasn't kept sealed, the prodiamine in it, like the yellow part of it, like that will, I've seen that solidify, but fairly uncommon. I don't see too often, but that's one herbicide that comes to mind where I have seen that happen. So if you seriously have like solid chunks, not like it's just separated, but you say there's actually solid chunks, or it's like solid matter, I don't know that even shaking is really going to do that. You may have to take it to like a facility that disposes of that kind of material and get rid of it. Because what I'm talking about here is like, I don't have a bottle of Tenacity. Is this? Oh yeah, here we go. That's a good example. So look at this. Let's look at this bottle of Tenacity. This has been sitting on my desk for like probably over a year, right? So look, you can see the liquid. The bottle sits up here. You can see like this is the top of it. That's the top, and you can see there's definitely a difference between what's here and what's down here. So you would not want to go take this bottle of Tenacity and just take this and throw it in your sprayer and use it. You want to, so you can see how it is now. You want to make sure this is closed. You want to give it a good shake, like 30 seconds. But anyway, even though we didn't do it 30 seconds, you can see that it is now like it's more consistent. I mean, that's not enough. I would do like 30 seconds or a little bit longer, but that was a great example of just showing you how herbicides will absolutely, if they're just sitting, liquid ones, they'll just separate like that for sitting for a while. So you definitely want to shake them before use. So, so hopefully that helps. There's no solid matter in this though. That's just it, separating a bit. There's nothing wrong with it. You just got to shake it before you use it. Okay. Hope that helps. John, if you need anything else, let me know. If you have to get rid of that herbicide, do not throw it in the trash. There are special places you need to take that kind of thing to get rid of it. But yeah, if it's got big solid chunks in there, then it's probably not good. Maybe it dried out or something, like the bottle wasn't sealed or something like that. Okay. Next up, we got Devin in the live stream, guys. You remember last week, Devin graces with his presence. He is the golf course superintendent at the club at Flying Horse out in Colorado Springs. So he was on the live stream last week. He's an Alabama fan, guys. Do not hold that against him. I've tried, known him for a couple of years. I've done my best. I don't think he's really changed. He got a helmet and everything. I think he's pretty committed at this point. Despite that, he knows a whole lot about turf grass and is an overall really good guy. Thanks for coming to stop by, Devin. Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. And yeah, man, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, next up we have John's Grass Hangout. He says, hey, Ron, have you had any Dwayne the Mole problems recently? LOL. No, John. And you know what's funny? This time of year, last year, around this time of year, I had the mole issue. So I gotta tell you, when I leave the house and I'm driving away, the area where it came up along the side of the house, every time I drive away now, I always look in the morning to see if there are any tracks there. And so far, knock on wood, there have not been. So hopefully it stays that way. Hopefully the mole doesn't like zoysia. Maybe zoysia is like less attractive to the moles than like the Bermuda was, because every year they were showing up and having a ball. So I really don't want to have to deal with moles in zoysia, mainly because of the do damage to the tracks. I mean, if the tracks get all throughout the lawn, it's going to take longer for it to bounce back. So it's just beautiful grass, but heaven helps you if anything happens to it. It takes forever to fix. All right, John, he says, hit the like button and subscribe and share, y'all. Yeah, guys, thanks so much for that, John. I mean, it's a quiet night. We got 37 people in the live stream, but if you've not hit the like button, feel free to do so. It costs absolutely nothing. It's a free way to support the content. Free way to support the content, all right? So hit the like button. Doesn't cost anything. All right. All right, next up we have... Let's see. It's John's grass hangout. He says, no, the crabgrass is in my neighbor's yard. It's encroaching on mine. Okay, so yeah, if you have crabgrass in your neighbor's lawn, it's coming into yours. The answer is still the same. Use quinclorac. However, you mentioned that I thought you mentioned your neighbor's centipede. If your neighbor's lawn is a centipede lawn, and that's coming into your lawn, or your neighbor truly has crabgrass this time of year, I kind of doubt it, but if it truly is the case, you cannot spray, or you actually you can do whatever you want, but you should not spray quinclorac on centipede. Both centipede and St. Augustine are sensitive to it. So if you're going to do that, get like a piece of cardboard or something that definitely keeps the quinclorac off of his lawn, because it will damage it. You'll kill his grass if you do that. So just what's coming into your lawn, like that's free. That's all game. It's all yours to be able to knock out. But you don't want to get out there and just without any kind of a barrier, just go spray and let some of it get onto your neighbor's lawn. Because if he's got centipede, quinclorac is going to damage it. It's going to give it a big ouchie. So make sure you're shielding his grass from any overspray if you decide to go that route, John. What you're looking at is probably centipede creeping in. Because again, crabgrass in November, not normally a thing. Not normally. I'm not saying it's impossible, but normally it's not a thing. All right. Next up, he says, next is going, he says, no, we're going to push you to work tonight. Keep it going, grass people. All right, next up we have R6 type. This is Oliver. Says, happy holidays, Ron. During the growing season, what is the benefit of applying PGR in a day you're not mowing versus applying right after mowing? Have a good stream, sir. Not mowing, so applying on a day you're not mowing versus right after mowing. I do it typically on an off day to prevent the chance of injury. Oliver, remember, whenever you think of it this way, like while the grass recovers pretty quickly, when you mow the grass, you're injuring it. If you get out right after mowing and go out and spray PGR, again, granted, if you stick to the rates, you shouldn't really have a problem, but you are increasing the likelihood that there could be some light damage if you were to go out and spray immediately after mowing. So even a day, even if you say you mowed in the morning and then you decided you were going to spray growth regulator in the evening, like I'd rather you do that than mow and immediately right afterwards go out and spray a plant growth regulator. I normally do it on an off day though. I normally will, say if I mow today, I will spray liquid fertilizers and growth regulator the following day. I'm trying to think if I've ever actually, I have done that. I have done them on the same day, but it's been the way I'm saying. I've mowed in the morning and then I've sprayed in the evening. I've done that when situations where I'm not going to have time to do it the following days. So, but I tend to separate. I don't cut and then right after it go out and spray liquids on the lawn. Again, if you're sticking to the rates, you're likely going to be fine. But there's a greater chance of potential injury versus waiting a day. All right. Okay. And guys, in case you're wondering, Oliver is the one that sent these pictures in. This is his lawn. So again, believe it or not, that is a Bermuda lawn in November. Pretty insane. Looks pretty awesome. But yeah, thanks for the question, sir. I really appreciate it. All right. Next up is John. He says, have you cut your backyard recently? We would like to see the Bermuda. Don't forget about the Bermuda now. I have not mowed it recently, John's grass hangout. I do need to get out there and put just a cleanup cut on it, even though it's not really growing, but I've not mowed it recently. The zoysia has gotten love, but not the back lawn. It's kind of just hanging out there, just waiting until next season to get going. But you are right. Nothing wrong with putting a mow on it, a cut on it. Just kind of cleaned up a little bit. Reset the stripes. because now they are starting to fade a bit. I don't like that. All right, next up is JStan01. He says, I plan to overseed in early spring to really set the lawn up for a good season. Any recommendations on selective herbicide and timing for next year? Okay, so you have, I'm confused. You're in Pennsylvania. You have a lawn that's perennial ryegrass. So what are you using what are you trying to do with a selective herbicide? Like, what are we using that for? Is it to get rid of the ryegrass or to get rid of, I guess, weed? Your lawn doesn't like it had any weeds to me, but I mean, get rid of weeds that are in your lawn, because this is what you're working with. Again, that looks pretty good. I guess I don't understand the question, Jay Stan. If you're going to again, first of all, the lawn looks really good as it is. So overseeding next spring, unless there's a bunch of damage from winter, I don't know that I necessarily would plan to do that. But if you are going to go that route, unless there's like a weed in particular that's in your lawn that you're trying to control, then I'm not sure what selective herbicide you would really use. You know what I mean? So, because normally you're trying to match the herbicide to the weed in your lawn that you're trying to get rid of. Your lawn, from that picture anyway, looks pretty clean to me. I don't see a whole lot of weeds in there now. So, unless I'm not understanding the question, there's not really a selective herbicide that I would use next year. Now, if your question is, let's say you didn't live in Pennsylvania, right? So where your lawn was not, for like what we're looking at here, let's say this was a ryegrass overseed of a Bermuda lawn, right? So say your lawn is really Bermuda, and this is how your lawn looks after overseeding with perennial ryegrass. Yes, now in that case, you would use a selective herbicide like Celsius to get rid of the perennial ryegrass to allow the Bermuda to come out of dormancy uninhibited and kind of let it do its thing. But that's not your case. Given that you're in PA, I imagine your grass is either perennial ryegrass year round or some other type of cool season grass. So you wouldn't use like Celsius, or really, you really wouldn't really do anything from what I'm seeing, to really get rid of that. You know what I mean? So if I'm missing something, feel free to chime in again, but I don't think I understand the question. All right, we got Daryl on the live stream. What's going on, Daryl? He says, what's up, Ron? First time using Spectacle this fall, going with split application. Thanks for all you do. Nice. Nice. You will like the results, Daryl. It's a pretty awesome pre-emergent. It is by far my favorite option for pre-emergent form season grass in the fall. Great option. All right. And then next up is Johnny says, oh, that makes sense. People around here don't like their grass. Yeah, so what you think is crabgrass, I think is really your neighbor's centipede lawn, which you want to be careful. You don't want to get out there and just, like I said, don't get out there and just be heavy-handed with the quinchlorite and nuke his lawn. So if you're going, like, if you have some of it that's literally encroaching, that's coming into your lawn, and you want to just get rid of it, then you're going to want to use a piece of cardboard, some kind of a barrier to keep the overspray off of his lawn, or you're going to damage it. It's a good way to make your neighbor not like you. So I wouldn't do that. Let's see here. Next up is Gary Kellett Jr. He says, Ron, I was looking at your 444 organic fertilizer. I know it's slow release, but here in Illinois, can I use that for a summer fertilizer monthly? Yes, you can. It's again, it's that's a product that we worked with Miramichi Green put together and took a while to come out. It's great fertilizer for people that, especially that want something that is truly organic. And given that it's it's relatively low nitrogen, you're talking like 4%. You're not going to push a bunch of growth during the summer months, and it's a good option for feeding your lawn, especially if you got soil test results that show that your lawn could benefit from a bit of phosphorus. Then yeah, that's a great option for an organic fertilizer. That is what I would go with, Gary. All right, good option for monthly feeding for people that want like a synthetic option. Probably our most common summer fertilizer for cool season grass is the 12-0-24. But if you want something that is strictly organic, then the 444 is a better choice. It's a better choice. All right. Hope that helps, Gary. All right. Next up is Gene DeWolf. He says, Bermuda is at 2 1/4 inches. I am taking it down with a rotary mower 1/4 inch each month starting in January. Much easier on me and the equipment. Yeah, that's a good plan, Gene. I'm not sure where your target height of cut is, but what you don't realize is if like if you take a half of inch of Bermuda out, that's a lot of material. I mean, obviously it depends on the size of your lawn, but like taking a half of inch of turf off produces a lot more clippings than people realize. You know what I mean? So your plan as far as like dropping the height to cut a quarter of an inch or so a month per month, it's not a bad plan. Especially if you're planning on ending up, you know, I don't know, 1.5 inches thereabouts. Not a bad way of doing it. Not a bad way of doing it. Again, you do it's less stressful to the grass. You'll keep more color as you begin to take the how to cut down, and it's just frankly a whole lot less work, a lot less material and debris to have to get rid of if you take that approach. Only negative is it takes longer to get to the height of cut that you want, but it's probably from a quality of life perspective, better a better way to go. Okay, next up is Greg A.U. says, Ron, are there any plans for smaller bottles of Spectacle Flow? I'd love to order it, but that size of bottle is out of my budget. Do you ever have people on the stream that will be willing to split it? I mean, if you can find someone that's a neighbor and you guys want to get a bottle and split it among yourselves, that's up to you. This is the small bottle of Spectacle, believe it or not. Like it comes in a size that is bigger than this. This is the small one. This is the the 18-ounce bottle. This is the small version. They're not going to make a version, to my knowledge anyway, that's going to be any smaller than this. This is already the small one. But it's a great option if you need it. You have a few neighbors that need it, and you guys want to get together and go in on a bottle. Again, it'll last you a long time depending on the size of your lawn. By far, from my testing, best option for pre-emergent, and especially in the fall for warm season turf grass. So I really like Spectacle. It's a great option. But it's not going to get any smaller than that I know of in the foreseeable future. Again, that already is the small one. All right. Okay. Next up is Gene DeWolf. He says, considering that Georgia has naturally acidic soil and pH adjustment is a long-term adjustment, do you recommend a maintenance treatment of lime each year? It depends on what your soil test results say. Some people will do a light lime app, 10, 20 pounds per thousand every fall. A lot of the services around here, like it's funny. I've spoken to a couple of different services. Some of them will do lime every year. Others will do lime every other year. So it just depends really on where your soil is. And the only way to really know that is with my soil testing. So whatever your soil test results come back based on that, you can put together a plan for for inputs to raise that pH to the Goldilocks zone. Because you are right. Like in general, not in all cases, but in general, our soils in Georgia tend to trend more acidic than alkaline, at least in this area anyway. All right. Next up is Gary Kellett Jr. He says, Ron, do you winterize your equipment? I've never heard you talk about it. I actually have spoken about it, Gary. I think I spoke about it not last week when Devin was on, but the week before I spoke about it. Yeah, so as far as how I winterize my equipment, I don't put any kind of fuel stabilizer or anything like that in the fuel tanks of my mower, the ones that run on gas anyway. What I tend to do is throughout the season, I will just use regular pump gas, right, which has like 10% ethanol in it. When I get towards the tail end of the season, so like typically like in August, I will switch to ethanol-free gasoline. So a lot of times when you go to the gas station, it'll either say zero ethanol or it'll be called like recreation gas. That's gasoline that doesn't have any ethanol in it, because what ethanol will do is if it sits in the gas tank, it will draw water in, which can cause a host of problems. So if you have a piece of equipment that's going to sit for a while, yes, you can use like the fuel additives, like the stabilizers, or for the a month or so out before you're planning on shutting everything down, you can just switch to ethanol-free gasoline, and that's going to put you in a pretty good spot. Outside of that, I also make sure the equipment is blown off and dry, nice and really good, and then I just put it up for the season. That's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot else. The biggest thing is just switching from regular pump gas to ethanol-free gasoline. All right. And that just saves me from not having to buy a fuel stabilizer. I can just roll with that, and it works so well. And then come springtime, without fail, put the choke on, first pull, Greens Master starts right up. So I've done it that way for years. Ever since even with the when I had the True Cut, same thing. Just switch to ethanol-free gas, and you're good. You're good to go. As far as the other equipment, the string trimmer, like the steel combi, for that piece of equipment, all I use for it, the gas in it is ethanol free. So with that one, you're mixing, you're using like stills, like their oil. It's like it's two strokes, so you're using like you're doing an oil gas combo. So that piece of equipment, the gasoline that I use in that is only the ethanol free. Mainly because I don't tend to, I don't really go through that. Have to fill out that many times throughout the season. So in that one's case, that's all it gets, because that I don't really know when it's like I tend to burn through gas pretty quickly in the mower, but on that I could go once a month, once every 6 weeks before I have to fill it up again. So it just pretty much only run ethanol free gasoline in that one. So I have two tanks, like one that is like a one that is just ethanol free gas, and I have one that's just the stuff that I just burn throughout the year, which is just pump gas right up the street. All right. Hope that helps, Gary. Outside, only other piece of advice I could give you too is if you are going to get your mower, say, sharpened this time of year, what you could do is, if you're going to do that, you get it sharpened, it's all fresh, the reel comes back. You can take like putting a light coat of oil of like, you can use WD-40, you can use, I've used PAM, like spray, like the aerosol, spray, cooking oil. You can use that on the reel, just a light thin coat of oil, just to keep, prevent any kind of rusting. Depending on, how much moisture it's exposed to, and if you're like if your garage is well insulated, it stays pretty dry, you can skip that, but it's fairly cheap just to go out in there, just rotate the reel, put a light coat of oil on it, and you're good to go. That's the only other thing I could see doing. Outside of that, the equipment really doesn't need a whole lot. Okay. Good question. All right. Next up, we have Jay Stan. He says, I oversee the Kentucky bluegrass lawn that was in very bad shape with RPR crabgrass, left bare spots and the weeds on the back slope and in the second picture submitted. Okay, so here's a challenge. And again, Devin may be able to chime in on this if he's still around. I don't know of a selective herbicide that you can use to get rid of perennial ryegrass that's also not going to injure the Kentucky bluegrass. So if your lawn is really KBG and you overseeded it with perennial ryegrass to get it to thicken up and fill in, bare spots from damage from getting rid of crabgrass, there might be, but I'm not aware of any selective herbicide that you can use to selectively get rid of perennial ryegrass and leave the Kentucky bluegrass largely unscathed. Like, for example, the other way around, there's some options. Like, you want, like, say, like velocity, like some cultivars of Kentucky bluegrass do not tolerate velocity PM, whereas ryegrass and fescue tolerate it really well. But that's not the question you're asking. Like, you want to get rid of the ryegrass and keep the KBG, and that one I don't know. I'm not sure if Devin's still around. He can chime in, but I don't know of a way to selectively remove perennial ryegrass out of a Kentucky bluegrass lawn. Interesting. All right. Next up is John's Grass Hangout. He says, what is a good winter fertilizer that you're using on your front yard at this time of year? Being that you don't want to go heavy with the nitrogen, or are you just using something that has mainly potassium? Yeah. So the last fertilization my lawn got was last month. And what I used, John, was this. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to shop and go to lawn fertilizer, I use the 12024. This is a higher potassium, lower nitrogen fertilizer option. I call this fertilizer like my bookends of the season. Like, I start the season with this fertilizer and I end the season with this fertilizer. So the first feeding that the lawn gets in March is going to be this, and the last feeding that it gets in late September, early October is this. And in between, I use the Humic Max 1608. All right. So this is what I used on my Bermuda and Zoysia lawn. All right. So if you're interested in that, you want to stock up for next season, now's a great time. We're running a sale. So there you go, John. That is what I would go with. So hopefully that helps. All right, next up is Scott Smith. He says, late as usual, good evening and happy Thanksgiving. Late, but you're here. We appreciate you for stopping by and saying hello, Scott. Hopefully you had a fun and safe Turkey Day. And yeah, thanks for coming by and stopping in the live stream anyway. All right, and next up is is Simple Cash Offer. Man, yes, it's been a minute, man. He says, hey, Ron, I haven't been here in a while. That's true. This is Go Bears, got a snowstorm coming. Great info. Yeah, aren't the Bears having a really good season this year? What are the Bears' record? I think what are the Bears? Normally they're not a very good team. And this, what are they at now? 9-3. Yeah, they're like leading their division, dude. They are. That's crazy. That's crazy. They're normally like hot garbage, but not this year. Not this year. This year they are. They're bringing it. They're bringing it. We'll see. You know, there's the regular season. There's the playoffs. Playoffs where you separate the men from the boys, right? That's what we see. Who really wants it. So don't get too happy yet. We'll see what happens whenever you can't lose. All right. Okay. Next up is John Grass. He says, Ron, just a heads up. Miramichi Green pest control and stock year round because bugs don't care about it being cooler and the stuff is amazing. Yeah, we do our best to keep that in stock, John. I think we've got plenty of that. So yeah, I mean, short of like some supply chain issues, which we've largely gotten ahead of, the Miramichi pest control should be available pretty much anytime throughout the season. But I agree with you, it is an excellent option. And then Jay Stan says, I do want to go with RPR. I will look at velocity. Thanks, Ron. Yeah, and keep in mind, Jay Stan, like velocity PM, what it's really designed for is for controlling Poa annua. So even though you're using it, it controls a bunch of other weeds too. But it's what it's marketed for is for controlling Poa annua and Poa trivialis in cool season lawns, right? So that's why it exists, right? And that's why also quite costs what it costs. And it controls other weeds outside of that. But the thing is that because annual bluegrass and Kentucky bluegrass, they're like kissing cousins, right? They're kind of close. So there's only certain cultivars of KBG that will tolerate velocity. And by tolerate, meaning you may get some slight injury, but it should bounce back from it. There are some that don't tolerate it at all. So without knowing, and there might be something else, but off the top of my head, like that is one herbicide that I can think of that has other benefits too, right? Because if you have Poa annua in your lawn, you can that's what you use anyway as well. That would give you the option of getting rid of the Kentucky bluegrass, and while the ryegrass is going to be pretty much unscathed, like ryegrass and fescue tolerate it really well. KBG, not so much. All right. So if you want to take a look at that, Jason, I think I've already linked it in the chat earlier. And if you're going to buy some, now would be a great time because you'll save 7%. I don't know. I forget what the tiers are, but now would be this weekend will be the cheapest time of the year to buy it because there's not going to be on sale any other time throughout the year. So if you want to get some, now would be the time to do it. And I will send you. I'll share with you where that is. Let me find it here. You know what? I can just search. Spend all this time creating this beautiful search feature and not using it. All right, so there you go, Jay Stan. Velocity PM. All right, cool. So you got that. Well, guys, gals, it is winding down. Looks like that is all that the folks have. All the questions that we have for this evening. We went an hour, but longer than I thought we would have given this time of year. Now, here's the thing, guys. Here's some news. Next week, we will not have a live stream. I've got a commitment that I really can't get out of, and I don't want to do a live stream like on a Monday or Tuesday night. So the next one will be the week of December 8th. The week of December 8th, which will probably be the 12th. So the week of December 8th is when the next live stream is. So next week, there will not be one. If you don't see one being scheduled, to be like, it's not like an accident. I'm telling you guys ahead of time. All of the diehards that are here will know. And we'll be back on the week of the 8th. All right. So as always, folks, thank you guys so much. And then let me cue the outro music here. And then John has one more comment. He says, hey, Ron, your prices are competitive. Don't need sales stuff. We really grasp people. No, I get it, John. The biggest thing is that, there's some people that like to stock up, like buy, a large amount of product for the season. So I give them that option to do that this time of year. That's why throughout the regular season, we don't do any sales or do any of that kind of stuff. It's really just this time of year. And it's primarily for the people that just want to be able to, buy like all their stuff at once. And if they decide they want to do that, I'll help them save a little bit. But yeah, this is the only time of year that we do it. We don't do it throughout the rest of the year. All right. But I appreciate the kind words. I'm glad that you are a great supporter of the channel. All right, we got two Trilla. He says, "Hey Ron, hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving." I did. It was quiet. I can't complain. It was quiet and uneventful. And then our last comment of the evening, we have Happy Thanksgiving, Ron. I had bought the Velocity PM and it hardened up. Have you had that problem? I didn't have it outside. I'm a bit disappointed, especially with how expensive it was. When you say it's hardened up, is it does it feel? I guess Hinkle's Pro. Is you say it's completely solidified, or does it feel like it has like chunks in it? Well, what I'll tell you with Velocity is you absolutely want to shake it before you open the bottles. Like even on this is such a common thing that on the newer bottles, the manufacturer actually has a sticker that says "shake well before opening." So unless you're certain it's solidified, I would give it a good 30 to 45 second shake before you definitely are convinced that it's like completely solidified or damaged, because it literally it will be like that until you give it a good shake. It's a common thing with that herbicide. It really needs to be shaked up before use. Okay. But yeah, send me some. I guess if you send me a video of what you got. I can see if I can help you out some. But yeah, Velocity is one you absolutely got to shake. All right. Next up, we have, he says, "Can't wait to cut some grass again 2026. Won't be long. Won't be long. Won't be long." And he says, "Yeah, like have it hardened up. Well, concentrate and get it back to normal." Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, if you have it and it feels like it's like bottom heavy, just start shaking it. Like when you get to about, again, 30 seconds into it, it'll begin, it'll break up and then it'll become, I don't know, like the chunks will no longer be chunks. So what I would say is this: be sure to shake it. Don't use it as it is. Like give 30 to 45 seconds, give that a shot, email me back and let me know. All right, let me know how it works out for you. Again, my email, ron@golfcourselawn.com. Let me know, and that should get you squared away. All right. As always, guys and gals, again, thank you guys so much. Again, thanks so much for all the love and support over the course of this year. Again, the sale is running on the Golf Course Lawn Store between now and Monday. So if you want a chance to save, stock up for next season, do so now. And I will see you guys on the week of December 8th. Have a safe, happy Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all that fun jazz. And enjoy this downtime. Talk to you guys soon.